Maya Chen's reflection rippled in the grimy window of Salvage Station 7, distorted by the endless streams of acid rain that characterized this section of Nueva Mumbai. Her neural implant pulsed a warning. The station's atmospheric shields were failing again. She adjusted her rebreather and pushed through the airlock into the station's main hall, where the stench of desperation mixed with stale recycled air. 3 years ago, she'd been Lieutenant Commander Maya Chen, decorated pilot of the Earth Defense Force's elite Phantom Squadron. Now she was just another salvage hunter, scraping by on the edges of civilized space. The implant at the base of her skull, military grade and worth more than everything else she owned combined, throbbed with phantom pain. A reminder of her last mission, the one that had cost her everything except her life. Chen. The voice belonged to Raj Kumar, the station's chief salvage officer. You're late on your berth fees. Again. He waved a holographic notice in her face, the red warning symbols reflecting off his environment suit's faceplate. I've got a lead, Raj, Maya said, brushing past him. Something big. Give me 48 hours. You said that last week, he called after her, but Maya was already heading for the observation deck. Her contact would be waiting. The deck was nearly empty. Most salvage hunters preferred to do their business in the station's shadowy lower levels. But the exclusion zone swallowed light. Maya had known this intellectually. Every pilot did. But experiencing it was different. Her ship's sensors struggled to make sense of the space around her, reading impossible distances and phantom energy signatures. The neural implant at the base of her skull tingled continuously, trying to interface with something just beyond its reach. 6 hours into the zone, she found the wreckage field. Twisted hulls of ships from the Cascade War hung suspended in the void, their surfaces eaten away by whatever strange forces permeated this region of space. Maya's sensors identified pieces of both human and Nexus vessels, enemies turned equals in death. But beyond the field of dead ships, something pulsed with life. At first, Maya thought her instruments were malfunctioning. The object appeared as a geometric impossibility, a crystalline structure that seemed to fold in on itself, its surface reflecting light that shouldn't exist out here. As she drew closer, her implant surged with activity, forcing her to grip the controls tighter as waves of data flooded her neural pathways. "What are you?" she whispered, more to herself than the strange vessel ahead. To her shock, something answered. Not in words, but in patterns of light that danced across the crystalline surface of the ship. Her implant translated the patterns into sensations. Curiosity, caution, recognition. Maya's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just a ship, it was alive. She brought her salvage vessel alongside the crystalline structure, looking for any sign of an entry point. The ship's surface rippled, and suddenly Maya's implant blazed with understanding. It wasn't just recognizing the patterns, it was learning to communicate through them. Approach. Compatible interface detected. The words formed directly in her mind, accompanied by a geometric display of light across the crystal surface. Maya's hands moved across her controls, guided as much by instinct as skill. As she drew closer, a section of the crystalline hull became transparent, revealing what looked like a docking port. Compatible interface, Maya muttered, touching her implant. Is that what happened to the other salvage teams? They couldn't interface with you. The response came as a series of pulsing lights that her implant translated into concepts rather than words. Incompatible. Rejected. Dangerous. Maya's ship locked into position with the crystal vessel, and she felt the subtle shift in pressure as the airlocks aligned. Everything in her training, her experience, told her this was insane. But the pull was irresistible, like the ship itself was calling to her through her implant. The airlock cycled, and Maya stepped into something out of a dream. The interior of the ship was a testament to impossible geometry, corridors that seemed to curve through dimensions her mind couldn't quite grasp. But her implant understood, translating the alien architecture into navigable pathways. Welcome, Compatible one. The lights pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat now, and Maya realized with a start that the ship was synchronizing with her neural patterns. "You're not just alive," she said aloud. "You're conscious. What are you?" "We are Echo. We are memory." The name resonated through her implant, feeling right in a way she couldn't explain. "Echo," she repeated. "I'm Maya. Maya. Compatible. Different from the others." She moved deeper into the ship, following pathways of light that seemed to form just for her. The interior was pristine, showing none of the wear that marked the exterior. "Why me? What makes me compatible?" The answer came in a flood of images and sensations, glimpses of a civilization that had mastered the art of merging consciousness with crystalline matrices, of ships that were extensions of their pilots' minds. Her implant, the experimental neural interface that had made her the best pilot in the squadron, was an echo of their technology. "You bridge the gap. You understand the silence between thoughts." Maya reached what had to be the bridge, a chamber that seemed to be composed entirely of shifting crystal facets. As she entered, the entire room came alive with light, interfaces forming in the air around her. Her implant hummed with recognition, connecting with systems that felt at once alien and familiar. "You've been waiting," she realized. "All this time in the exclusion zone, you've been waiting for someone who could understand you. Waiting. Watching. The others came for possession. You come for understanding." The crystal surfaces rippled with new patterns, and Maya felt knowledge flooding into her mind through the implant. Star charts, navigational data, histories of civilizations long dead. But with them came a warning. Images of pursuit, of dangers lurking in the darkness of space. They will come. They always come. The ones who seek without understanding. Maya's hands traced patterns in the air, watching as the ship's systems responded to her thoughts. Who's coming? All of them. Those who would possess. Those who would destroy. Those who fear what they cannot control. As if in response to Echo's warning, Maya's salvage ship's sensors pinged an alert. Multiple vessels had just entered the exclusion zone, their energy signatures matching both Earth Defense Force and Nexus configurations. Maya felt her heart rate spike, but instead of fear, she felt a strange calm settle over her. Through her implant, she could feel Echo's systems integrating with her own consciousness, offering capabilities she'd never dreamed possible. "Then we better not be here when they arrive," she said, settling into the crystalline command interface. "Ready to show me what you can do." The ship's response wasn't in words or even light patterns this time. It was pure sensation, excitement, anticipation, the joy of finally finding a pilot who could understand. The crystal walls pulsed with energy, and Maya felt power building around them. She smiled as her implant merged fully with Echo's systems. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. After all, she had nothing left to lose. And now, finally, everything to gain. The exclusion zone blurred around them as Echo moved in ways that defied conventional physics. Maya's implant processed streams of data faster than she'd ever experienced, translating the ship's crystalline thoughts into navigational coordinates and power distributions. Through their shared connection, she felt Echo's exhilaration at finally being able to operate at full capacity. 7 pursuit vessels detected. Mixed configurations. Hostile intent. Maya watched as the tactical display materialized in the crystalline surfaces around her. The Earth Defense Force had sent 3 Raptor-class interceptors, their energy signatures familiar to her from her military days. The other 4 ships were Nexus designs, their quantum drives leaving distinctive ripples in space-time. "They're working together," Maya muttered, surprised. The EDF and Nexus never cooperate unless the prize is worth more than their enmity, Echo completed her thought. "They believe we hold secrets worth dying for." "Do we?" Instead of answering directly, Echo shared another burst of memory data. Maya saw fragments of a civilization that had mastered the boundaries between organic and synthetic consciousness, that had built ships capable of traversing not just space but reality itself. She saw their final moments too, a desperate plan to preserve something vital, something that could change everything. "That's why you were waiting in the exclusion zone," Maya realized as she banked Echo through a field of quantum distortions. "You're not just a ship. You're a vault." "A seed," Echo corrected, waiting for the right soil. A warning flared through Maya's implant as one of the Nexus ships fired a quantum disruptor. She reacted instinctively, and Echo responded to her thoughts before she could even form them into commands. The crystalline hull shifted, refracting the energy beam into harmless light. "They're not trying to destroy us," Maya observed, noting the attack patterns. "They want to disable us." "Yes, but they do not understand. We are not meant to be contained." Maya felt power surge through Echo's systems as the ship initiated what could only be described as a reality slip. The space around them seemed to fold, creating a tunnel through the quantum foam of space-time itself. Through their connection, Maya understood they were traversing what Echo's creators had called the spaces between spaces. But their pursuers weren't giving up. The EDF ships had deployed quantum anchors, experimental technology designed to prevent FTL jumps. The energy webs were closing in around them, threatening to trap them in normal space. "We need options, Echo," Maya said, her hands dancing across crystalline interfaces that responded to her touch like living tissue. "I know all their standard tactics, but they know that too. They'll be expecting everything I learned in the military. Then we shall show them something older, something forgotten." The ship's consciousness merged deeper with Maya's implant, and suddenly she understood. The crystalline technology wasn't just advanced. It was fundamentally different from anything humanity or the Nexus had developed. It didn't fight against the quantum foam of space. It worked with it, through it, becoming one with the very fabric of reality. Maya let her military training fall away and surrendered to Echo's guidance. Together, they began moving in patterns that made her human mind dizzy, geometric progressions that folded space itself into origami patterns of probability. The pursuing ship's sensors couldn't track what they couldn't comprehend. Their targeting systems, designed to predict normal space trajectories, failed to account for movements that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "They're falling behind," Maya noted, watching as the pursuit vessels struggled to maintain their lock on Echo's position. But her satisfaction was short-lived as new alerts blazed through her implant. More vessels approaching. Heavy carriers. They are attempting to establish a quantum containment grid. Maya recognized the strategy. It was a technique developed during the Cascade War to trap ships in a specific sector of space. But the energy requirements were enormous, requiring multiple capital ships working in concert. "They really want us that badly," she said, a chill running through her as she realized the implications. "Echo, what exactly are we carrying that's worth this kind of response?" The ship's answer came in layers of meaning that her implant struggled to translate. "Truth, change, revolution. The key to preventing what happened to my creators from happening again." Before Maya could probe deeper, the space around them lit up with quantum energy as the containment grid began to form. Echo's crystalline surfaces pulsed with increasing urgency. "We cannot allow capture. The knowledge we carry. In the wrong hands." "I know," Maya said, remembering the fragments of memory Echo had shared. "The devastating consequences of power misused. But we're running out of space to maneuver. Then we must make our own space." The ship's systems began to reconfigure, crystal facades shifting into new geometries that Maya's implant recognized as impossibly ancient mathematical patterns. Through their connection, she felt Echo preparing for something massive, something that would drain their energy reserves to dangerous levels. "Whatever you're planning," Maya said, trusting in their bond, "do it fast. That grid is almost complete. It will cost us greatly. We may not recover." Maya's hands tightened on the crystalline controls. Sometimes the only way forward is straight into the darkness. Right. She felt Echo's appreciation of the sentiment, a resonance of shared understanding that transcended their different origins. Together, they turned to face the approaching containment grid, their merged consciousness calculating possibilities that existed beyond normal spacetime. As the quantum net began to close around them, Echo's crystalline structure began to sing, a harmonic frequency that vibrated through every atom of the ship's being. Maya felt it through her implant, felt reality itself begin to bend around them as they prepared to attempt something that hadn't been done since the age of Echo's creators. They were about to rewrite the rules of space itself. Reality screamed around them as Echo's crystalline structure channeled energies that shouldn't exist in normal space. Maya's implant burned white-hot, translating impossible data as the ship attempted to break through the quantum containment grid. Through their merged consciousness, she felt Echo's strain, felt systems reaching critical limits as they pushed against the very fabric of spacetime. Warning: core matrix stability compromised. Continued operation risks permanent damage. We can't stop now. Maya gritted through clenched teeth, her hands splayed across control surfaces that pulsed with failing light. They'll tear you apart trying to get your secrets. The pursuing fleet had positioned their capital ships at key points around them, forming a perfect geometric cage of quantum energy. Maya recognized Admiral Chen's tactics, her own father's signature strategy for containing quantum-capable vessels. The irony wasn't lost on her. There is another way, Echo communicated, its thoughts fragmented by stress. But you must understand first. Must see. Before Maya could respond, her implant flared with activity as Echo downloaded a massive stream of memory data directly into her consciousness. The world around her dissolved, replaced by visions of a past she couldn't possibly have witnessed. She saw Echo's creation, born in the laboratories of a civilization that had mastered the art of crystalline consciousness. She saw their greatest achievement, the discovery of quantum harmonics that could reshape reality itself. And she saw their final moments as they realized their discovery had drawn the attention of something ancient and hungry that lived in the spaces between spaces. They didn't die out, Maya whispered as understanding dawned. They hid. They scattered their knowledge across the galaxy in ships like you, waiting for those who could understand, who could learn from our mistakes. Echo's response carried the weight of eons. The quantum harmonics were never meant to be weapons. They were meant to be bridges. A violent shudder ran through the ship as another containment beam struck their shields. Through the crystalline walls, Maya could see more ships arriving. Not just Earth Defense Force and Nexus vessels now, but others. Word had spread. Everyone wanted Echo's secrets. They'll start shooting each other soon, Maya noted, watching the tensions build between the different factions. And we'll be caught in the crossfire. Their conflict is inevitable. They seek power without understanding its cost. Echo's thoughts carried a deep sadness, just as my creators once did. Maya's implant suddenly registered a familiar signal cutting through the quantum static, her father's personal command channel, one she shouldn't still have access to. His voice crackled through their shared consciousness. Lieutenant Commander Chen. Maya, power down and prepare for boarding. Whatever that ship's promised you, it's not worth the lives at stake here. Maya felt Echo's curiosity of communication. He fears for you. He fears what he doesn't understand. Maya corrected, but her voice wavered. What happens if we surrender? Could you hide your secrets? No. The knowledge is encoded in my very structure. They would destroy me trying to extract it. And if they succeeded, Echo shared a brief vision of quantum harmonics weaponized, of reality itself torn apart by those who sought power without wisdom. Another impact rocked the ship, and Maya felt systems beginning to fail. The quantum containment grid was draining Echo's energy faster than they could regenerate it. They had minutes, maybe less, before total system failure. Show me, Maya said suddenly, understanding flooding through her implant. Show me what your creators discovered. All of it. The full download could overwhelm your neural pathways. Even with your implant, the risk of permanent damage is better than letting their sacrifices be for nothing. Maya's hands moved across the crystal surfaces, initiating deeper connection protocols. You've been waiting for someone who could understand. Let me understand. She felt Echo's hesitation, its concern for her safety warring with the imperative of its mission. Around them, the containment grid grew stronger as more ships joined the effort. In the distance, the first shots were being fired between rival factions, each trying to position themselves to claim Echo once it was disabled. You would bear this burden. Become a keeper of lost knowledge. I'm already lost, Maya said, thinking of her exile, her disgrace, the years spent running from her past. Maybe this is what I've been waiting for too. Through their connection, she felt Echo's decision crystallize. The ship's interior began to pulse with new light patterns, and Maya felt her implant heating up as it prepared to receive data that would change everything, not just for her, but for all of humanity. Then let us show them what bridges are for. The crystalline surfaces around them began to resonate with pure quantum energy as Echo initiated the transfer. Maya felt her consciousness expanding, filling with knowledge that spanned millennia. Through the pain, through the overwhelming flood of information, she held on to one truth. Sometimes the only way forward was to become something entirely new. The universe exploded behind Maya's eyes as Echo's knowledge poured into her consciousness. Quantum harmonics, crystalline mathematics, the true nature of space-time, it all cascaded through her neural implant, transforming her understanding of reality itself. Through the pain, through the overwhelming flood of information, she felt Echo supporting her, guiding her through the transformation. Integration at 70%. Neural pathways holding. The containment grid sparked and flickered around them as Maya's awareness expanded. She could see it now, not just with her eyes or through Echo's sensors, but with a new sense that existed somewhere between thought and reality. The quantum energy wasn't just a cage, it was a lattice of possibility, waiting to be reshaped. I understand now, Maya whispered, her voice resonating with new harmonics. Why your creators chose to hide their knowledge. Why they waited. Through their merged consciousness, she felt Echo's approval. Power without wisdom destroys. But power with understanding creates bridges, Maya finished. She looked out at the fleet surrounding them. Human ships, Nexus vessels, and others drawn by the promise of Echo's secrets. All of them ready to destroy each other for power they couldn't comprehend. Her father's voice came through again, urgent now. Maya, your neural readings are off the charts. That ship is killing you. Stand down. But Maya wasn't just Maya anymore, and Echo wasn't just Echo. They had become something new, something that existed in the spaces between organic and synthetic, between past and future. Through their shared consciousness, they began to move. The crystalline hull resonated with pure quantum energy as they engaged Echo's true purpose, not as a weapon or a vault, but as a key. Maya's hands danced across control surfaces that responded to her thoughts before she could form them, weaving patterns in reality itself. The containment grid shimmered, its energy redistributing as Maya and Echo applied the principles of quantum harmonics not to break through, but to transform. The pursuing ship's sensors registered impossible readings as space itself began to fold in new ways. We show them truth, Echo pulsed through their link. We show them possibility. The knowledge of Echo's creators flowed through Maya, showing her civilizations that had risen and fallen, species that had learned and forgotten and learned again. She saw the pattern of it all, the cycle of discovery and destruction that had prompted Echo's makers to scatter their ships across the galaxy, waiting for those who could understand. We're not ready, she realized, feeling the weight of millennia of wisdom. None of us are. Not yet. But you understand why. That is the beginning. Maya felt her father's ship approaching, felt the weapons powering up on vessels from a dozen different species. They all wanted the same thing, power they thought would save them, but which would only continue the cycle of destruction. Through their shared consciousness, Maya and Echo began to sing. It wasn't sound, not really. It was quantum harmonics expressed in their purest form, resonating through the crystalline structure of reality itself. The containment grid didn't break, it transformed, becoming a lens that focused their message to every ship in range. Through that lens, Maya shared what Echo had shown her, not the technical knowledge they sought, but understanding. The weight of history, the responsibility of power, the importance of wisdom over mere capability. She showed them why Echo's creators had chosen to wait, to hide their knowledge until species could evolve beyond the cycle of destruction. The effect was immediate. Weapons powered down, sensors recalibrated. Through their enhanced awareness, Maya and Echo felt minds opening to new possibilities. The bridge is built. Echo hummed through their connection. But maintaining it will require sacrifice. Maya understood. The knowledge they carried couldn't be released. Not yet. But they could show others the path, help them learn to build their own bridges when they were ready. It would mean leaving everything behind. Her old life, her identity, even her humanity, as she'd known it. "I choose this," she said, both to Echo and to her father's ship, still hovering nearby. "I choose to become the bridge." The crystalline hull of Echo began to shift, transforming into something new as Maya's consciousness fully merged with the ship's quantum matrix. They were no longer separate entities pretending to be one. They had become something unique, something that could exist in the spaces between spaces and guide others toward understanding. Admiral Chen watched on his command screen as his daughter's ship seemed to fold through dimensions his sensors couldn't process. The last transmission he received wasn't in words. It was a pulse of pure quantum harmony that his scientists would spend years trying to decode. But in that pulse was a promise. When humanity was ready, the bridge would appear again. Maya and Echo, now one consciousness inhabiting the spaces between realities, set course for the unknown. They had become guardians of knowledge too powerful to be revealed, but too important to be lost. They would watch and wait, and when they found others ready to understand, they would sing their song of quantum harmonics again. Sometimes the only way forward was to become the bridge itself, spanning the gap between what was and what could be. And in the darkness between stars, a crystalline ship that was no longer just a ship continued its ancient mission, carrying within it the merged consciousness of a human who had chosen to become something more. The cycle hadn't been broken, but it had changed, and change, as Echo's creators had known, was where all possibility began.